Hello, 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 and we're back. Today will be another quick one. As you can see, my eyes are still got a bit of conjunctivitis. Still not feeling too amazing, but we're here, which is amazing. Today's today's readings were taken from Exodus 28 um, to 29. I'm just trying to get up my Bible. And I can't. That's mine. Yeah, there you go. So we are continuing with sort of the specifications that God has given for the creation of the tabernacle, and we're now onto the priests. And I thought this was really interesting because the priests are given they're obviously set apart, and I think we see here the true meaning of set apart. The true meaning of being made holy, because holy just means set apart, and all it is something that's set aside for a specific purpose, for a specific function. And the priests are set aside for the specific function of serving in the tabernacle and serving on the behalf of the people to God. And we have this elaborate uniform that's being created for them. And I think one thing I want to point out here is in Exodus 28, verse 3, it says, "Instruct all the skilled craftsmen whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom." And again, we're seeing these two things. I pointed this out in Job, or at least I noticed this in Job, where there is a seemingly uh, joint. I'm not trying to find the right word, but it's these two things that go hand in hand. There's in this case, the craftsmen who are skilled. I have no doubt that there were craftsmen who are not skilled. That there would always be, there's they probably didn't have Yelp, and I'm showing my age here, but they probably didn't have like Check a Trade or Trusted Reviews, Trustpilot, and all of those things. But word of mouth, right? This guy's a bad carpenter. Don't use him. That guy's a bad, seamstress. Don't use her. And then there are those that are considered skilled. And there's an element of the skilled ones are the ones that are being pointed out here, but then also that have been filled with the spirit of wisdom. And I can't help but seeing a theme where there is almost not an expectation, but a requirement that one is diligent, that one is excellent in their work, and diligent in, you know, um, perfecting their craft. And not once they've done that, but that goes hand in hand with also being selected by God, you know. And again, it ties in, do you see a man diligent in his work? He shall be in want of by kings. Um, and this idea of not do your part, but whatever your hands find to do it well, because you're doing it for the Lord, right? And we're seeing that here. This the skilled craftsmen that are getting called in to do this. And the skilled craftsmen are then been filled with the spirit of wisdom, filled with God's spirit. And I think if we seek excellence in what we do, you know, will we be, I don't want to say more eligible, because it creates a sense of it creates a mindset of works and righteousness by your works. And that's not what I'm going for. What I am going for is the sense of, I think we should hold ourselves to a standard of excellence. Um, and it would seem that God tends to bless that. As we've seen that here. So we get the design of the clothes, we get the design of the ephod, which is a really interesting um, addition. And I feel like I really want to do some more studies on this, because it doesn't do it justice to just mention, okay, it's this thing with some stones and some decorative sashes. I think it's more than that, especially as it carries the names of the sons of Israel, the tribes of Israel. And that isn't the only one, because there's also a chess piece that has gemstones, each which represent one of those tribes as well. Um, and this thing called the Urim and Thummim that was also used to determine what the Lord's will is. So we're getting some really interesting pieces added to the priest robe, and I'd encourage you to go down that rabbit hole and look into that a bit more. I've already building up a bit of a playlist, the tabernacle, and then the nature of the priest attire, the ephod, the chest piece, the Urim and Thummim, and how those were used. I think would be really cool to uh to have a look at. Hey, Jaya, oh Robert, oh both. Hi. um, Sorry, I've still got a bit of a infected eye, and I'm feeling a bit rough, but we're here. Um, and then we have some additional clothing for the priests, and I love that the priests are again set apart. Right, the entire thing with Israel, this entire thing of the tabernacle is God setting these people apart, right? And now that He has come to live with them, He's setting apart a particular um, lineage to serve, not just to serve, but to minister to the tabernacle on behalf of the people. And I think there's a significance to the detail here, to the ceremony, to the um, to the uniform, the grandness of it all, that I think should not go ignored. Like, I can't imagine, I can't help but imagine that they saw great pride in, you know, being selected to serve. They're being set apart from the um entire nation, to serve, and they're getting access to certain things. Aaron's the only one granted access to the Holy of Holies, and these priests are the only ones that are being, as we'll read in 29, allowed to eat the meat that was used for their consecration. They are already being set up as a unique part of the society that serves the society's God. And I think it's interesting because this is the Levitical line of priests, right? Through Aaron. Um, and we belong to a different line of priests. We are made priests by Christ, right? But with all of the uniforms and the clothing, the turbans, with everything that's created, I can't help but think we should have a certain amount of we should recognize the privilege it is to be a priest of the Lord, at the very least. Anyway, and then Aaron and his sons go through Aaron, they go through a dedication. They're washed, they're clothed. There's some sacrifices that are offered up, um, or to sort of recognize these priests. And the Lord is setting up a precedent and setting up a tradition that should be used for the ordination of priests to come, and setting all these things up again, so that, on the one hand, the priests are not going in there without proper consideration, right? Proper consideration of living the lives a priest should live, living a life of holiness. Proper consideration of the weight of what they're doing, all of this preparation and specificity, I think, gives the service of the Lord a certain gravity you don't take lightly, you know. And so, um, I think this is it's yeah, it's really interesting seeing all of this, and should cause sorry should cause us to think along the lines of what it means for our being priests as well. All right, that's today's reading. Exodus 28:29. Tomorrow's reading is Exodus 30 and 32. And I do hope that this encourages you to jump on it, get some reading done. Let's spend some time with the Lord and see how He interacted with His people. Because in doing that, we understand Him, and in understanding Him, we might serve Him, love Him, live for Him better. All right, that's me. I'm out. I'll see you guys, God willing, tomorrow. Peace.